The mortgage industry had been recording who owns what homes and what mortgages people were taking out in some form of distributed ledger. And then being able to see, okay, when people were selling bundles of those mortgages, right, which was the basis for this kind of run-up in the mortgage crisis, where people selling these bundles and slicing them into different tranches of risk and that sort of thing. Being able to see actually what those underlying assets were and knowing that that's the truth, that's not just one company telling you what that state is, but you're actually seeing the raw database, right, would have potentially kept people from having to trust somebody like Moody's, who gave A+ ratings on a lot of underlying assets that were of questionable value. But the real opportunity would have been, so in the unwinding process, right, what was that movie that came out that talked to The Big Short, right? So in the unwinding process, people were panic selling these assets, these tranches of risk in the mortgage industry, because they had no idea not only what was underneath, but actually how do you turn that into cash, right? By doing anything other than trying to evict a homeowner and sell their house when you owned maybe a fraction of a % of the mortgage that they had, right? And this paperwork crisis hit that industry, where nobody knew where these assets were, nobody knew how to trust who owned what. Had that paperwork been implemented as a series of smart contracts, you probably would have seen a much more orderly unwinding, right? A public ledger that recorded who owned what, and there are lots of different ways to try to encrypt that to protect privacy and that sort of thing. But more importantly, a smart contract system to unwind those tranches of investment. We might have seen a rise and a fall of more like 10% than the 40% and then 60% down that a lot of people saw. More importantly, we might have kept some of the things like people being evicted from homes that they had paid off 95% of their mortgages for.